GCC banks raise interest rates and Russia meets its debt repayment deadline. You're watching the Daily Brief with Forbes. I'm Ramia Faraj. GCC banks followed the U.S. Federal Reserve and raised interest rates by 1/4 percentage point today for the first time since 2018. Price pressures in this region aren't as severe as in the U.S., where inflation is at its highest in 4 decades. But analysts say the stability linked to GCC pegs to the U.S. dollar outweighs the fact that the U.S. and GCC countries can be in different economic cycles or have different inflation rates. Russia's finance ministry has paid the interest on 2 foreign bonds following fears Moscow may default on its debt after facing unprecedented Western sanctions. The ministry says the payment order, worth a modest $117.2 million, which was due on March 15th, was sent to a correspondent bank account on March 14th and was executed. The operator of the world's biggest refining complex, India's Reliance Industries, may avoid buying Russian fuels for its plants following Western sanctions on Moscow. Officials say even if they can source from Russia, they probably won't. Reliance buys Urals crude and straight-run fuel oil for its refineries from Russia. The private refiner mostly buys its petrochemical feedstock from the Middle East and the U.S. In India, most Russian oil supplies go to state-run companies. Asian and European markets rallied further today with another blistering surge in tech firms helping Hong Kong extend its recovery from its recent fall. Traders also cheered soothing comments on the U.S. economy by the Federal Reserve after it lifted interest rates. Sentiment is strong after China promised to support falling markets and said the crackdown on the tech sector is nearing its end. The Hang Seng closed up 7%, the Nikkei closed up 3.5%, and the Shanghai Index closed up 1.4%. Let's take a quick look at how the rally impacted Asia's billionaires today. According to Forbes, the biggest winner in Asia today is Ma Huateng, chairman of Tencent, up $8.3 billion with net wealth of $39.2 billion. Our second biggest winner is chairman of bottled water company Nongfu Spring, Zhang Shanshan, up $6 billion with net wealth of $66.9 billion. And our third biggest Asian winner is the CEO of online gaming company NetEase, William Lei Ding, up $5.5 billion with net wealth of $29.4 billion. Check out our website and our social media for all of the latest Billionaires news. Takeaway food app Deliveroo has announced rising annual losses after costs rose by more than 1/3, offsetting a surge in home deliveries. Loss after tax jumped 36% to $406.5 million last year compared with 2020. And the British group says the outlook is clouded by strong inflation and the Ukraine war. But it forecasts the company would reach break-even between the second half of 2023 and the first half of 2024. Consumers risk losing all of their money invested in crypto assets and could fall prey to scams. In a joint statement, the European Union's securities, banking and insurance watchdogs warned that consumers face the very real possibility of losing all their invested money if they buy these assets. Regulators are increasingly worried that more consumers are buying 17,000 different crypto assets, including Bitcoin and Ether, which account for 60% of the market, without being fully aware of the risks. Full-fledged digitalization of economic activities in the MENA region could lead to a 46% rise in GDP over the next 30 years. A World Bank report reveals this extra $1.6 trillion for the region would result from the widespread use of digital services like mobile money and digital payments. The report says gains would be more marked in lower-income countries. An Emirati cargo ship sank in Gulf waters off Iran earlier today. The car transporter ship sank nearly 50 kilometers from the port of Asulia, and a search operation has been launched to rescue its 30 crew members. Aston Martin has launched the final fossil fuel version of its limited-run powerful V12 Vantage sports car, with every vehicle already snapped up before the British luxury car maker starts its gradual shift to an electric lineup. The car maker says this V12 Vantage is really a swan song. It says there's history of V12 Vantages at the company that goes back several decades, and this will be the last one it makes. I'm Ramia Faraj. This is the Daily Brief. Thanks for watching. See you tomorrow.